Fantasyland is the world of imagination, hopes, and dreams. It is dedicated to the young and the young in heart, to those who believe that when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey today. My name is Mindy, and I'll be your captain and storyteller as we board the miniature dwellings of some of Walt Disney's most beloved storybook characters. Before we officially begin our journey, I must ask that you please remain seated at all times while keeping your hands, arms, and feet inside the boat, and please supervise small children as we do not want any stories to be taken as unexpected turns. And with lightning speed, here we go. We're off. So hello, passengers. Welcome to this week's show. We are doing some fun things today. We're going to do an attraction detour of none other, if you haven't guessed it, Storybookland canal boats at the infamous Disneyland Park. So with that said, how are you guys today? I have my favorite three co-hosts with me, and I have first Jay. How are you, Jay?
Wow, Mindy, I am fantastic. Other than a little quarantine crazy, I am really happy to be back on the canal boats.
Me too. Oh, I've been watching videos to prepare for this, and I literally got teary-eyed. It's my favorite Disneyland, Fantasyland attraction out of all of them. It's hard to pick because you love them all, but this one has major sentimental value and like meaning of it to me, of what happened and just the history of it. So I'm glad you're enjoying your quarantine, but we really need to get to Disneyland, right?
Can I just tell you, when Disneyland opens, the second it opens, you and I are going because I cannot wait to share Monte Cristo with you and then go on the canal boats.
I know. We'll have to bring our own vanilla sauce, though.
Oh, heck yeah. If they don't take it as contraband.
Yeah, right. Like, give me back my Anglais sauce. And we have Holly. How is Holly today?
I am doing great. I can't wait to join this journey with you guys today. I'm really looking forward to, because I know that Mindy loves this ride, and I just can't wait to hear it from her point of view, because it is such a sweet attraction. It really is. It's just adorable. So I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Thank you. There's so much meaning behind it, and I'll tell our passengers, and of course you guys, some stories of this attraction and why it means so much to me. And last but not least, we have Kris. How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you?
Sweating at 118 degrees today outside.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's warm here too. I mean, it's like 90 something, but you know, I'm outside of Chicago, so the humidity is ungodly. So
we don't have humidity here in Arizona. It's a dry heat, and it's a literal term. Like you sweat, but it literally cools you down, and it feels great. But it's still 118 degrees. Yeah. After 110, it doesn't matter. I felt the 121. It doesn't matter.
I think after hot. 90, it doesn't matter. That's how I feel. Like 90 is just hot. It doesn't matter.
90 is great. I'm like freezing and wearing parkas. So,
you know what, ladies? It is so hot here. The Wi-Fi stopped working. I had to take my computer downstairs and plug back into the landline.
Oh my god!
Because the heat's so out of control, it's literally like evaporating the Wi-Fi.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's a new one. Haven't heard that one.
Do you have high humidity where you are then, Jay?
Mm-hmm. I'm practicing I'm practicing to be an Orlando resident.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was traveled
crazy
that far.
In the Midwest with humidity. Yeah.
It's like Star Wars outside. There's two suns.
Yeah.
And Holly's complaining like it's hot. It's California. It doesn't get hot in California. I was at Disneyland. I was there that day that it got to 113 degrees. I was there that day.
It happens. It does happen here.
Yep, and it was hot. We ended up going back to our hotel, took a nap, went swimming, and went back for the rest of the night. But it was hot.
Yeah. At least it cools down, though. That's all I have to say. Like, if it didn't cool down at night, no thank you. But
I think as soon as the sun goes down, it gets cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always bring a sweater or a jacket with me just because I live in Arizona and I get cold really easily.
Right.
If it's 75, I'm literally wearing a coat. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's perfection. 75.
Well, I still wear a coat. Like yesterday I had a sweater on. I get cold anyway, and I keep our house at about 75, 76, and it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in Arizona, it's cold. Like, you go outside, it's just
super
hot.
cute vintage coats that you have to wear and show off.
Of
Yeah, there you
course.
go.
I got some great stuff this past week. So, yeah. The vintage collection is coming along quite nice. Anyhow, so thank you so much, guys. I'm excited to take this tour with you and take our passengers around a journey on the Storybookland canal boats. So we're going to kind of go through the attraction and take our passengers on a ride and be the storybook teller. I've always wanted to be that cast member who sits on top of the little thing and pushes the boat around. Steers it. I've always wanted to be captain. Their jackets, their vintage jackets are gray, and I just swoon every time I look at them. I'm just like, I love your jacket. Can I just please have it? It's a pea coat, and it's the cutest thing. It's lined with green, and it's the cutest thing on the planet.
Is this not a good time to tell you that I once was on the Storybookland canal boats and I asked the cast member, can I do the spiel? So she handed the microphone over and I had to make it up on the spot.
I know it pretty well, so I could hang with you. I could do it.
I hate to say that I didn't, so I improv'd the whole thing. Thank God I'm good at improv.
It's so good.
You
That's
did the
awesome.
whole ride?
The whole ride, she just sat back and was like, all right, do my job for me.
Oh my goodness.
That was so fun. That would be so fun. And to have have the guests on there with you and doing that. What a dream.
I mean, everyone laughed, which is why I'm the jungle skipper now.
Okay, so I guess I should do and ask if my whole family goes and we go on it, then I'm going to ask, hey, can I do the spiel for this? That would be like...
You might get that magic moment where they hand it over and be like, all right, do my job.
You have to be happy, though, that the one in Disneyland is not like the one in Paris because they don't have tour guides on those boats. It's all
They
automated.
don't?
No.
Wah, wah,
But
wah.
Paris has Beauty the Beast Castle, which makes it infinitely better.
Yeah, I've seen it online, but I didn't know they didn't have that. So
No,
wow.
they don't have.
So it means
they
a
don't
lot.
Have humans.
Growing up, I remember like being little and seeing the tiny miniatures, but it's the most peaceful, serene attraction, in my opinion, in Fantasyland, especially at night. You hear the water trickling.
Mm-hmm.
It's the lighting, it's a mood, and you feel it, and you hear the little sounds coming from the house, and we'll talk about that, but it really takes you to another place. So the one time, why it means so much to me, Brandon and I had gone to Disneyland, and we had only been married for a year, and we got on not knowing. It was just perfect timing, and we had no clue it was happening, and now we do it because we know it happens, but at 9 o'clock, the fireworks go off, and there wasn't much of a wait, and we didn't know. It'd been years since I'd gone on it since a kid, and being married, and so we went on and got on at like 8:45ish, and they're taking us through, and she's like, okay, well, we're gonna stop right here. And they stopped pretty much right where London Park is. There's like an island in the middle of the two canals, and it's a bigger area, and she pulls off and she's like, okay, well, we're just going to turn the boat off, and we just stop. We're like looking around like, what? And all of a sudden the music comes on, and the fireworks start going off right there.
Oh, wow.
So we had the most amazing, with 4 other people on the boat, fireworks show display in Disneyland that we've ever had. It was the most magical
so cool.
thing.
I had no idea that they still do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you can actually go on. So we let people go in front of us. We're like, okay, let's time this right. So we'll get on like right 5 minutes before, just so, because they have to stop the boats. They literally stop them.
Right.
And you can watch fireworks right there from the boats.
That is so
incredible.
fun.
So
and different. It's something different. Like, I don't know. I love it. And see, and that's another reason why I love doing these detours, because I feel like I learned so much more about all these attractions that I've been on a million times, but I don't know the stories behind them. So very cool.
Yeah. And you can do that on the other one, is watching them from Thunder Mountain as the fireworks go off. That's really cool too. But you can time that right. You can get on that. But it's really it's the most serene attraction. And going backwards, kind of talking about some facts about it, it is an original attraction. It was there on opening day. Okay, but it was plagued with issues. It's an attraction inside of Fantasyland, as I stated. It's a boat ride where passengers wind through a canal featuring miniature buildings from Disney's animated films. It was supposed to be created as a journey of miniature recreations of the great landmarks of the world, but that was scrapped and they just never completed it because on opening day, the outboards weren't working, it overheated, there was just lots of issues with it. The cast members had to pull the boats by hand, and the cast members actually named it the miniature mud bank ride.
Mud bank ride, yeah.
Yeah, cast members would have, because the engines the first year was really a nightmare, and the engines would pooter out, so the cast members would, and it was only male cast members at the time, and they would have to hop out and literally pull the boats through the canal back to the dock.
Did you know that water is 8 feet deep?
No.
Yes.
Wow, that's much deeper than I would imagine.
They control the boat, but it's on a chain, so it will tip. That's why they tell you to stand up at the same time.
At the same time.
It can tip. But it's not on a track, but it's pulled by, like, the chain goes down and the track's at the very bottom. But it's a boat. It's just a boat, and it follows the little link around, but it's 8 feet deep, and people have fallen in it. Yeah.
So, Mindy, I have a question for you. So, as you stated, it was an opening day attraction. But from what I read and what I understand is that the mini buildings, the landscaping, all of that wasn't added until much later. So what in the world was there when it first opened? Was it basically just a boat ride?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that because we could talk about that. So on opening day, like I said, it had a rough start. And Walt Disney, what happened, Disneyland went way over budget, right? It was like 3 times the amount over budget. So Disney had to make some cuts and spending, and unfortunately Storybookland Canal Boats got the cut, which was actually called the different name, the Storybookland Canal Boats, and they cut it. So really on opening day it was boat rides through dirt. That's right, just dirt. There was no grass, there were no pretty trees, there were no miniatures, and it was the most boring dirt ride. And so it opened on opening day. And after only opened for 2 months, it closed on September 16th, 1955. And the miniature buildings and landscapes were placed following year, and leaving this and with small plants in their planters to stunt their growth, it quickly became one of the favorites among guests. The bonsai trees were planted by even Walt himself. So those little bonsai trees, he planted those.
I know, I have that down.
Jay,
that's so cool.
And I actually have that on my notes, that one of those bonsai trees is actually from Walt Disney's desk. When they were doing the landscaping, he volunteered this bonsai tree off his desk to experiment. So
that's so cool.
I couldn't tell you exactly which one it is, but Walt Disney's bonsai tree from his desk is in the ride.
That's cool. We'll have to ask next time we ride. We'll have to ask, because that's a pretty neat tip.
So it opened June 16th, 1956. And so Disneyland on their website says this about it: cruise through the mouth of Monstro the whale into a magical land of Disney movie locales, all in miniature. Any height can go on it. It's for all ages. It's a slow attraction. And it does say show safety, accessibility, and guest policies are things that you need to look out for, just because the line can get rather long. It's a favorite, and it's a slow boarding attraction. If you do have a scooter or a disability and you do have the DAS card, you go through the exit to get on the attraction. So you show your card and they'll have you wait off to the side. They board you first, and then they'll take you and your family up to board the rest of the guests that get on that boat with you. And then you'll head through the Monstro the whale. So there are there's some benefits to waiting. You'll be put together. If you go through the exit with the DAS card, you could wait for quite some time, just because they don't want you to like go through and just jump on.
Right.
And it's not, just remember, this attraction has been there since opening day. So the walk through the where you wait in the queue it's really only about 2.5 feet wide. It's the tiniest little gate, and it's pretty hard to fit through. So just remember that if you have any disabilities or have a harder time or need bigger space, that's probably not the attraction for you to be able to go wait in. And you to take your scooter in or your wheelchair, it barely would fit. So there's not a lot of room when you get on the attraction. There's maybe 4 feet of like dock space or you get on the boat, and you have to be very careful because that boat will tip again.
I've seen the boats tip, both on Storybookland and Small World.
Have you really?
They do it. So when the cast member gives you instructions, do exactly what the cast member says.
I would be so embarrassed. I would be so embarrassed if that was us, like our family, and we tipped
me and my friends,
boat.
and that's why I know the boats in Small World will capsize if you're not careful.
Oh my goodness!
You tipped over on that ride. What? So you went swimming in the canal?
We were very, very fortunate to throw our weight the opposite direction. But yeah, when the cast member says, do what they say.
Onboarding water. So here's a fun fact. The Imagineers used all sorts of tricks when building Storybookland canal boats, even going so far as finding redwood miniature plants so the trees would match the scale, the tiny houses in the canal. So the story goes, as one fellow, he wanted to make the miniature church roof look as old and weathered as it could be. So he went above and beyond the call of duty for his job that day and the weeks after. Research reveals that urine, yes, urine, is extremely corrosive to the effects on metal. So guess how this Imagineer finished his lunch break hour? Yeah, that's what
Mindy, I actually have that in my notes. It's an Imagineering legend.
Sorry.
Because the roofs are made of tin. It wasn't just that building, because uric acid is the fastest.
Can you use like vinegar or something?
No, when they were the Imagineering legend goes that when they were done building the beautiful little buildings, they took them out back and applied them by nature.
Oh my goodness.
I will leave it there.
Yes.
All right.
So when you go on the attractions, you just spot out the metal wood roofs.
Oh, there's the P building.
Yes,
P
for
building.
sure. That is going to be the one thing on my mind.
So here's the thing.
Which one's the outhouse?
Don't tell your kids, Holly.
Oh yeah.
So here's the thing. All of the original buildings have been redone. You can go to up in Burbank if you go to the Griffith Park and you go over to Walt's train, his what's it called? His Red Barn. If you go in there, there's actually pieces of the original Storybookland canal boats attractions. Just because they weathered, they were a little bit bigger, but they got so weathered and they deteriorated, and they were made of plaster and chicken wire and like making it out of paper mache that it was really, really delicate and it would fall apart. So obviously the ones now, they're just sturdy, but all the plants have been there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our passengers on a little attraction ride around the area in the canals, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So how does that sound?
Good.
Jay, do you have any more facts to share with us?
My facts I'm sharing for the rest of the episode.
Okay.
Other than this was one of Walt Disney's favorite attractions, and it was a D ticket for a very long time. That's how much he loved it.
D, that's very close to E. That's what that means. It means it was a little more expensive on the ticket guide, but it really was the most amazing attraction. And the ticket booth is actually still there. If you go over to the exit, it's red and white, and it looks like a little lighthouse. But that is the ticket booth where they would take the tickets. So it's still standing there if you want to go look at it. So without further ado, we're going to take a lightning speed off on our canal boats. And first, when you go on the attraction, you're going to pass, like it says, Storybookland canal boats out of little plants. It's the most cutest thing, and the beautiful green manicured grass over to the right. Like I really just want to sit in it and take a picture next to where it says Storybookland. It's so pretty.
Have a
and
picnic.
I always
Yeah.
take a picture of that too. But first you're going to pass through Monstro the whale. So you're transported to a place called Storybookland. But this whale, they wanted to do this kind of to separate it. And you can see the canal boats from actually Casey Jr.'s train as well. So you can see you can wave to each other. The train goes around the Storybookland canals. But the canal is going to give you a better view of this beautifully manicured land. And when you go through the whale's eye actually blinks at you, and it will poof out some steam if you watch it. It goes poof, and it'll wink at you if you sit there and watch it long enough. So once you pass through the whale, on the left, you'll come to the big bad wolf's house, and the three little pigs are just across the canal in their little houses made of straw, stick, and bricks. And you actually hear the song saying, "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf?" And you hear the little pigs singing that song, and it comes from the little houses. Again, it's the most quaint little attraction, and I just love it. From there, we're going to take our canal boat ride to Alice in Wonderland. So in this quaint little English village, chased the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, and you hear her singing when she's out in the grass, and she's singing to her cat. You hear that song playing from there, and little waterfalls coming from that attraction. It's a really, if you've ever gone outside and listened to like the water trickle in a little stream, it's kind of what you hear in this whole attraction. And
it's also how they age the roofs. Sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And your storyteller sits up atop, and they'll tell you the story as it goes through. And she'll say, on to the right comes London Park. Now, this is probably my favorite. It's, again, that little island in the middle, because we go right and the other side will go left, and you can pass by the other canal or the canal boat captains as you pass. You'll see another boat come by. And here is where Peter Pan flies over with Wendy, Michael, and John to never grow up. And you'll see the London clock there. But what's funny is about this little island is every now and again, there's a lot of ducks that swim in the waters of Disney. And so it's kind of a running joke, like that it's the Godzilla, attacking this little tiny quaint town. And the ducks will get perched up onto this little island, and they look huge, taking over the London Park. So we kind of giggle whenever we see.
I love that particular area in the evening, like you said. It's just the special little twinkle lights right there. It's just so adorable.
Right. It's lit up, and all the little lights of the town are there, and it's the most amazing thing. And ahead is the city of Agrabah, and it's a mystery of enchantment. It's where Aladdin and Jasmine live, and you can hear the music of the town coming on, and it looks like the little Agrabah village. It's the cutest thing. It's brown, and it has the castle there, and it just looks just like the cartoon. It's so cute. There's little miniatures.
My favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite out of the whole thing. I just love that.
It's definitely my second favorite because it looks just like the cartoon.
It does. It's got the little town and like little shopping carts of food, and it's the cutest thing. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the whole attraction, and I get goosebumps every time I go through it. So over to the left, you're going to see the boarding of the Casey Jr.'s train. And as you go under it, it's love blooms in the rose-covered archways above. And it's supposed to be, they say, where Aladdin and Jasmine flew on their carpet ride through a whole new world. And so the whole new world song plays, but you're going under these archways of roses, and they're lit up with lights, and they twinkle. And at night, it's even better. If you can go on this and you only go once, do it at night. Do it at night. It closes for the parades. So no, it doesn't. It closes for something. I want to say it does. Not for the fireworks.
No, it does. Yeah, it does. It's for the parade, because I think they need that extra area right there, because it's like you said, it's so compact.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure
So it's
the
hard to get
parade.
in and out there.
Mhm.
I know they close it for something, and you're like, oh, it's closed.
And can I just say, if
Um,
I hadn't been so lazy with my engagement, I would have done it on the Storybookland Canal boats at dusk to the Rose Garden.
Oh,
But I was
yeah.
lazy and did it on the couch, so there was no romance.
Oh, that's so funny.
God.
So once we pass through those covered roses, we go into the Cave of Wonders. And up here, up to the left, you're gonna see the genie's lamp. And you get 3 wishes from him. So what would you wish for? Well, that genie obviously is where Aladdin, it's just his whole little section right there. And he gets that wish to meet Jasmine. I always thought it was backwards though. Like you go see Agrabah, then they fly, and then there's a genie. I'm like, okay. I thought that was odd. But you go through this cave, and it's lit up with blue and yellow and red lights. It's really cool. And it smells like the train. So if you go, just know it's kind of smelly in there. But you pop out, and this is where it gets fun because it's all green and it's beautiful, and there's just so much vinage and just grass and just cute little, perfectly manicured little town. So you're gonna see out of the Cave of Wonders comes Snow White, and it's her little cottage where the 7 dwarves live. And if you listen closely, you hear the 7 dwarves digging in their mine, and you hear hi ho, it's off to work we go, and they're singing, and you hear Snow White singing in the tiny little cottage. So they've got the audio just perfectly timed as you go through this. And the person that gives this speech, the cast member, will just stop talking so you can hear this and hear the little sounds. It's really cute. So off to the left, up at the top, if you look up, you'll see Cinderella's huge castle. And here you hear Cinderella singing "A Dream Is Wish Your Heart Makes." And Cinderella lives up there with her prince. And you'll see the carriage that turned back into a pumpkin.
Love
so
that.
Pumpkin's up there.
So cute.
Yep.
Don't laugh at me. That's my favorite vignette in the whole ride.
Is it?
It is. Because unlike Cinderella Castle at Magic Kingdom, it actually looks like the one from the animated film.
Right.
It is so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's really, really pretty. It looks like her castle, and just everything is so detailed. It's so detailed. And inspired in 1933, the Silly Symphony cartoon of Lullaby Land. Over to the left, you're going to see patchwork quilt, and they're made out of flowers. All of the things in Disneyland, all the plants and trees are completely real.
Yeah, that is
never
so
grow up. And it's all because of the magic of pixie dust from Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell is the one that makes the pixie dust and makes the trees stay small.
Can I interrupt really quick?
Yes.
That patchwork quilt is actually not from Lullaby Land. The original ending to the ride was going to be Willie the Giant sleeping under that patchwork quilt. And just like Monstro winks his eyes at you, the cast member would tell you, okay, be very quiet. We don't want to wake Willie the Giant up. And as he would come by, his eyes would wink.
Oh.
You'd have the
I didn't know that.
Ending bookended.
Cool.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. But it's the most beautiful little tiny plants. They're perfectly
And I love the little
manicured.
buttons. They have the little, the stitching and the little buttons.
It looks like stitching. So we'll hurry through, but Mr. Toad's Hall is on the right, and he goes on a wild ride to nowhere in particular, and you hear this as you go by there. And then this was just recently added, but you come to, on the left, the frozen town of Arendelle, and you hear Let It Go, and it's really, really pretty. The whole town of Arendelle, the dock and the boats and everything.
Yeah, I love the little boats out there. They're so cute.
Yeah. Which used to be the 2 Dutch windmills from the old mill before it was replaced with the Arendelle.
Did you guys know when they removed Mr. Toad to add Frozen, people complained, and so Toad was shoehorned back into the ride.
Oh,
that's why
good.
Mr. Toad and Elsa are so close. She can borrow milk from him if she needs to.
She could. But if you're going to get milk, you can go. What's coming up next? That's a great segue into the Oaken's Trading Post. This is my favorite of all of them. Because if you listen closely, it's the cutest thing. you hear him go, woohoo.
Yeah.
It's so cute, but it looks just like it. Again, it's probably 1 foot tall. It's just little tiny Oaken's trading post. It's the cutest thing. And then there's just ice-topped caverns like all over the place up there, just wood, like frozen snow, and it's really cute. So then on the right, you're going to see the woodcarvers Geppetto's town, where Pinocchio became a real boy, and you do hear the music of that. And the up at the top above the snow-capped mountains, you actually see the star that he made a wish on to have this little boy turn to a little boy. So it's really cute in there. And we're almost coming to an end, but Prince Eric's castle is on the right, and you will see Ariel there where they live as part of your world, and she's out there singing. So it's the cutest thing. It's all manicured, and just the little details of the boat where she goes out to the beach and finds him, and it's all there. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah, it is very pretty.
Yep. And then the last thing you're going to see, where they store the boats, they got a little creative. So they turned on a waterfall. It's right at the end, but it's to the left. The water will come down and it creates a waterfall effect, but they store the boats in there. They turn the water off. And inside is where they did the waterfall of Triton. It's under the water. So it's where Ariel lived when she became a mermaid.
So this last time that we went there, we rode that we don't often ride this ride just because of what you said. It's slow moving, so it's typically a very long wait, but we hadn't rode it in a long time, and I don't know if the twins ever rode it. So we made it a point to ride it in March. And speaking of the waterfall area, my son saw that, my youngest, Lincoln, who's 4, and he was panicking. He thought we had to go through that tunnel and that we were going to get soaked. And so being the evil mother that I am, I went along with it. Yep, hold your breath. We're going to go under. And so he was pleasantly surprised when we went around it.
Oh, God.
I'd love to have seen his face when he realized.
Yeah. Yes, but we're like, hold your breath. It's coming up.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, my gosh. One little cute fact that I did find when I was doing my research was the fact that the scale is 1 inch to 1 foot. And then the houses, and I thought this was really interesting, the houses in Storybookland are all fitted with 6-inch doors and 1/4-inch hinges that open and close the door so the electricians can get in and change the light bulbs.
Oh,
the doors really work. Yes, they do. That's just another reason why I love this attraction. It's functioning. Yep. It's a functioning little tiny, and they go around with tiny scissors and they trim the trees. Jay, did you have a fact to share?
I do. I remember reading a story about the cast members who were working on the attraction telling Walt, well, no one's going to notice the tiny detail. And he says, no, I will.
I will.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep. He knows the door's open. But that's why Disneyland and Walt Disney World are so immersive, is because those details that you don't see, those details that you just, and I will tell people who don't go, just stop and look up. Just stop and look up. You will see so many details that you wouldn't normally see, even inside the stores. Stop and look up. Because inside the stores, there's little stories that tell you about what that store is. Like if you go into the hat shop, you're going to see Mad Hatter's, all of his fun, like sewing tools, and Alice's stuff up there in her bedroom. And it is amazing. Stop and look up. Just take it in, because that's what makes Disneyland Disney. And that's why it's so different. It's the details that make the world of a difference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's my episode description. Stop and look up.
Stop and look up. So without further ado, well, folks, it looks like we're closing this chapter on our storybook magic. So as we return to the docks, please keep your arms, hands, and fingers inside the boat.
You have to nominate the next person to do an attraction detour.
Oh, I do.
It's your turn.
Okay, I'll say that. So I'll redo that. Okay, folks, so now that we've talked about Storybookland canal boats, this attraction was a blast, and I'm so glad I got to share it with our passengers. It's one of my favorites. Again, it's hard to choose which favorite is yours in Fantasyland, just because I love them all. You can talk about Peter Pan, or you could talk about Pinocchio or Snow White, which we go on every single time we go. We go on it every time, even Pinocchio. There's never a wait, but they're fun and they're just magical. So let's see, who hasn't done an attraction yet? Jay, have you done one yet?
I think we've all done
Yeah,
the
we
attraction.
All done one.
You were the last one.
So you get to start it over
So we're
again.
going to start over again, huh? Well,
Yeah.
I know Stan's been really eager to do it, so let's pass this off to Stan this time, because he really wanted to do the next attraction, and I'm just going to pass the torch to him and let him take that. So I'm glad I got to be last but not least, and we get to go for another round of another attraction. So buckle up. But that, folks, looks like we're closing this chapter on our storybook magic. So as we return to the docks, please keep your arms, hands, and fingers inside the boat, and please remain seated until our boats come to a complete stop. Until then, please stand clear and walk together to the boat as we stand up on 3, because we will tip over. So if today was magical, my name is Mindy. On behalf of all the other storybook tellers here, I hope everyone enjoyed the visit of Storybookland Canal Boats. Without further ado, take it away, Ken.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tours Magical Ticket Holders. While you're on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tours. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tours Podcast, as well as on Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to email us, drop us a line at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. All logos, sounds, songs, and music that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are the full ownership of the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be the ownership of the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Please exit to your left by stepping away from the cars with your left foot first. Step out and stand on the moving platform, please.
Please exit by stepping away from the cars with your left foot first. Step out and stand on the moving platform, please.